There's one show I've gotten a lot of requests for. I'm really looking forward to NHK and Elfen Lied. I think you should do reviews for Elfen Lied. Do you take suggestions for reviews? Elfen Lied! Will you review Elfen Lied ever? Such a grotesque anime. I want to hear a review on Elfen Lied. And considering that this is a minor celebration of sorts, being my 10th episode, I figured it was time to give the fans what they want.
So without further ado, let's take a look at Elfen Lied.
Alright, it's quite the slow opening, and it's more than a little odd. Catgirls kissing mannequins to dreary Latin music. It seems almost lifeless. Whoa! Talk about a tonal shift! The first episode instantly goes from a slow, benign opening to a twitchy, bloody arm. If you ever wanted a clue that the show is not for kids, I guess the first millisecond proves it. Anyway, Elfen Lied opens with a 10-minute gore fest as some naked chick named Lucy breaks out of a high-tech facility. People that are set up to be the main characters are pretty readily killed off, including the comic relief trope. The actual main characters are introduced the next day. The main hero is pretty much a generic character archetype, weak but good-hearted. Oh, a long-lost female cousin character. There's a 50% chance that she turns out to not be biologically related to him and they end up fucking. The other 50 is that they're actually related and they end up fucking. I hate Japan. So the main guy, Coda, ends up finding a naked pink-haired girl who's bleeding from her head and looks exactly like the maniac from the opening torture porn sequence.
Now, here's my first real problem with Elfen Lied. How stupid do they think we are?
Are we not supposed to guess who this is? I mean, they build it up as some big secret for the whole series until the very end when, surprise, she lost her memory and is the same person. But what fucking numbskull wouldn't figure out like 3 seconds after seeing her? Anyway, she's basically an infant now, wandering around naked, crying, and unable to talk. I really have to ask, though, why isn't she dead? Her powers are outlined very clearly in the series later on as invisible arms that can deflect bullets if she reacts fast enough to use them. And even then, it only works on small caliber rounds. She's shot with an anti-tank gun with no idea that she's being aimed at, so she doesn't have time to even try to deflect them. Oh sure, the round hits her helmet, but the series also outlines that that helmet is meant for medical scanning restraint, not protection. So how in the fuck did she survive that shot? She should be dead. The injury called in the oldest plot contrivance in existence, amnesia, reverting Lucy to the previously mentioned childlike state.
I guess this kind of naivete is supposed to be appealing, but I really can't find the sexual attraction in the kind of person you would have been forced to invite to your 8th birthday party that nobody really liked because they drooled all over your Super Nintendo controller and tried to wash their face in the birthday cake.
I don't know what to do, and I don't even know what her name is.
All she says is new. New seems like a good name.
What?
Look, I think she likes it.
Yeah? You think so?
Huh?
What's the matter?
Really?
They had her piss all over everything? Seriously? Is this the kind of ideal woman for a Japanese anime nerd? Someone with an uncontrollable bladder?
So we cut back to the Blood Fest, where they haven't even cleaned anything up yet. It's been like a full day and you guys haven't done anything at all? Like, have you just been standing there the whole time? And the blood is still dripping. Shouldn't it have dried by now?
The special assault team has been assembled. If we don't stop Lucy, the blood of mankind is on our hands.
Oh yes, mankind will perish. We'd spend too much time cleaning up her piss to be able to do anything else, I guess. So during a round of House of the Dead, we're introduced to Bando, a hoo-ha military motherfucker that don't take no shit from nobody. See, Bando is part of a military team sent off to round up Lucy, but he's so badass that he mouths off to his superior and jumps off the gunship in mid-flight. But because we can't let the show get too interesting, we're constantly switching back to the boring drama with the Three Stooges. Fuck, they're all flat, one-dimensional wastes of my time. Do something!
That's right.
As inept and stupid the military characters are, they're at least interesting compared to these fuckers. Koda's injured during the whole military thing on the beach and is questioned by the police about Lucy.
Did you see or notice anything unusual on her head?
It's all right. Just think and tell us whatever it is you do remember.
I know I said girl, but she must have been college age, and she had short hair. She was a little overweight.
Great.
Yeah, that wasn't inconspicuous at all. Enjoy your ass pounding in jail once they figure it out and charge you with obstruction of justice. After Koda's released, he goes home and then immediately decides to go out looking for Lucy. He's injured, sent to the hospital, questioned by the police, released, and runs back out into the line of fire again, all within the space of a fucking hour.
Oh, should I lock the door?
Why would you go back and lock it? You're like one step away from the fucking thing. You have to stop, think about it for a bit, and then decide to ignore it when you're like 2 seconds away from it? Man, I really hate Koda. His only defining character trait is that he's a clueless, dumb fuck idiot. Despite being a catatonic child for most of the fight, eventually Lucy decides to fight back and instantly tears one dude to shreds. Bando opens fire, but Lucy tells him to talk to the hand, bitch. Lucy is a diclonius, a genetically mutated human that has invisible arms called vectors growing out of her back. I wonder whether they're actually showing her long, invisible arms now when they didn't in the previous episode. Bando figures out Lucy's powers and actually begins to put up a fight against her. For as much of a fuckwad as he is, he's the only person that hasn't been liquefied on sight by Lucy. Despite this, though, Lucy overpowers Bando, towering over him. I'm gonna pee on you. Almost instantly, Lucy reverts to her lolly appeal form. We're back to boob-touching and awkward virginal guys not knowing what to do with a hot, naked chick. What is it with anime and girls that are so developmentally challenged that they just gargle out the same word over and over and don't even know how to fucking dress themselves? Do Japanese guys actually desire women that have the IQ of a plastic spoon? Koda's incestuous love interest, Yuka, decides to use this moment to segue into talking about some festival and then gets pissed off when the guy doesn't care. I honestly don't know who to side with on this one. The show is so fucking slow and boring that I can appreciate Yuka's attempts to actually try to do something. But randomly bringing up a festival for no reason than to try and segue into some shitty flashback sequence is just painful as fuck. These characters are boring. I don't really want to know their backstories. The only one of the bunch that even evokes any kind of emotional response is Lolly Lucy, and that's just pure disgust. And back at the facility, we've got an actual plot twist. I can't believe it. Finally, something that is interesting is going on. Well, it's not to say it's good, but at least it's the first thing in 3 episodes that's grabbed my interest. See, it turns out all these pink-haired cat girls with invisible hands growing out of their spines were all raised by the main scientist at the facility to think they're his daughters. Ew. And as we find out later, some of them actually are. This pretty much guarantees that every scene with this guy from here on in is going to reek of pedophilia and hidden incest. And him intently watching his naked daughter in chains certainly doesn't help with that. Also, why is she covered in fresh blood? Even if she injured herself against her chains, which considering how obedient she is due to her daddy, she probably wouldn't do at all, wouldn't the blood be dried up by now? I mean, they allude to some of the girls being used as test subjects later on in the series, but there's not even any visible wounds on her, so where the fuck did it come from? Are these girls' periods super explosive? After another 5 minutes of boring shit back at Koda's house, we cut to Bando, recovering in the hospital, where the chief tells him he has to get his balls cut off. Naturally, Bando doesn't take this too well.
What does the fate of my balls have to do with the fate of mankind?
Chief Kurama doesn't actually answer the question, only goes on to talk about some kind of infection the mutated girls transfer as a method of reproduction. And ironically enough, this little factoid doesn't seem to have staved off Lucy's sex appeal among fans of the show.
Guys, this is what sex is to her.
Stay calm. So we can live too?
So Lucy's totally into Coda, considering elbowing her in the tit is all it takes to get her turned on. Oh, and then Yuka shows up and slaps him into oblivion.
Coda, what the fuck?
You're not dating this woman, and she's obviously a fickle bitch. Meanwhile, you've got this other chick who's totally into you. Why are you putting up with all the bullshit from the one who's actually your fucking cousin, instead of checking to see if Lucy's got a pink carpet to match those drapes?
Huh?
What's the matter?
Oh, right. Jesus, even I fell into that trap. I hate this show. I hate it.
After a bump in the head, Lucy transforms into Sadako from the ring. Looks like she's about to tear Coda a new asshole when she decides to go outside instead and fuck around with the dog. Coda wants to go find Lucy as she's wandered off yet again, but Yuka won't let him. God, this woman is the fucking boat anchor around this show. Even Coda's like, shut up, bitch! I want to get back to people who are actually important to the plot. The only reason any of this boring childhood bullshit that has nothing to do with the show at all even shows up is because Yuka keeps nagging Coda about it. And Coda's already moved on with his life. I get it. You're friends as kids. You want to get horizontal with him, and he's forgotten about you. Can you fucking talk about something else already? Apparently another Diclonius girl sent out to apprehend Lucy, and you can just smell the catfight that's gonna happen. Lucy backhands Daddy's little girl from all the way down the steps, despite Bando specifically establishing that Lucy's hands are only 2 meters long at the most. See, what makes this really stupid is when the new girl's vectors are 5 meters long, she knowingly walks into Lucy's attack range without attacking herself. What a fucking idiot! Hey, if Diclonius become the dominant species on Earth like Lucy predicts, but they'll have like vector measuring contests in locker rooms. Of course, Elfen lead can't become actually interesting, so in the middle of the fight we get hit with yet another pointless flashback. Yuka is attending a funeral in the department store and having conversations with all the undressed mannequins. Yeah, Yuka, no matter what you do, you're never gonna be interesting. And back to the battle. Lucy decides to start throwing on debris. How is it that Lucy can hold up so much shit with only 4 hands? You'd expect maybe 4 items maximum, but here she's lifting up a whole pile of junk. Fight ends pretty quickly with Lucy delivering a Falcon Punch right to the stomach. I wonder why nobody in this town is noticing the explosions, the noise, puffs of smoke, or the 2 floating women fighting in the graveyard. Hell, this is Japan. Just as a rule of thumb, there should be at least 3 guys with cell phone cams taking upskirt shots. So there's a bit more gratuitous gore, and Lucy picks up the homeless chick from earlier as like, GTFO! It's pretty obvious these artists have never actually seen a cross-section of a bone before.
Here's a hint. It's not bright white all the way through.
Hey Lucy, why don't you just kill the chief? I mean, you hate him more than anyone else on the planet. He's right there. Oh, you're gonna give him time to have his conversation there. Well, all right then. And then she lets him get away with a backhand. Oh, really? She tore apart an entire base with hundreds of security personnel armed with automatic rifles, and she runs with there's a couple guys around? Huh. Guess not even Diclonius vectors can penetrate the armor of plot convenience. We get to learn a little bit more about the homeless girl now through another unnecessary flashback sequence. You know, that new dad of hers looks like a real nice guy. I bet they're gonna live happily ever after from now on.
Come on now. Take off your clothes.
I'm not gonna do it anymore!
Oh god, really? You know, this is the first scene that really held some good dramatic tension until the no! I mean, they didn't even do that in the Japanese one. She just screamed and cried. Did you really think that adding a Vader imitation would really help that scene out? And we're back to the most boring segments of the show. Oh look, Yuka's stomping the back of Koda's head because he won't get up and go to school. Isn't this hilarious? It's not like I haven't seen this in every other harem series ever! Now here's the thing. Koda openly admits that the university is a shitty school where all the rejects go. The quality of education is lower. The profs certainly aren't the cream of the crop, or cream of the crap. And yet this is the fucking university that has professors studying diclonius infection, a disease nobody has even heard about and is kept tightly under wraps. These faggots are the ones doing groundbreaking genetic research? So Koda's professor kidnaps Lucy in order to advance his research.
I'll put you to sleep for a while, and when you awaken, we will be the Adam and Eve of the next stage of humanity. My children, and you will bear them all.
That diclonius reproduced by infecting others. The show can't even keep its own shit straight? And yeah, this is totally respectable science. Fucking your test subjects. Also, it turns out that the cat ears in all the diclonius are actually horny gross, as evidenced by when this guy removes his wig to reveal...
I'm sorry, I just can't take this scene seriously. This is the next evolution of the human race? Conehead rejects?
Professor's assistant begins to poke around the scene gratuitous panty shot when Koda shows up. She begins to describe the diclonius to Koda, despite being a complete cover-up that nobody is supposed to have known about.
All these laboratories, what's the professor researching?
A rare disease that causes humans to grow horns. Professor Kakazawa is working to develop a vaccine intended to curb the spread of the disease.
A disease like that? I've never heard of it.
Of course not, it's highly contagious. Patients who display the horn symptoms are immediately quarantined. If it were to spread...
What would happen?
Here's the lab.
Wait, you're not going to answer his question. It's legitimate. Like, okay, we know that diclonius have dangerous vectors and shit, but let's operate off this girl's logic. It's a disease that causes people to grow horns with no real side effects. You just grow horns. And if it was to let loose in the population, we'd all have horns. And nothing would happen. At the same time, Mayu, the homeless chick, hangs out with Bando about a gratuitous panty shot, who gives her a cell phone number to call if she's ever in trouble, in exchange for saving his life. Meanwhile, Yuka and Koda head out to look for Lucy because she's gone missing for like the 100th time and end up taking shelter in an old temple.
Oh, Koda.
But still, I haven't forgotten that I liked you back then. And I like you now.
Dude, she's your cousin. Your cousin! Your cousin! Gratuitous panty shot! Ah!
Lucy, meanwhile, is running around killing civilians. Hey, gratuitous panty shot! This time of a dead girl. That sure does turn me on. Dead girl upskirt pics. And then Bando shows up with a custom gun, begins to fight against Nana, which is the absolute retarded sounding name of Daddy's favorite diclonius.
It's a custom-made 50 caliber tungsten bullet. Can't swat it away like you do with a standard 9mm.
So wait, even assuming Lucy used her vectors to repel around from an anti-tank gun in the opening, I know we talked about this, and that scene is retarded anyways, but let's just roll with that assumption here. Why does a custom-made handgun bullet give her so much trouble? I don't care about the size or the material it's made out of. It just doesn't fucking hold up against an anti-tank rifle the size shown in the opening. He states the custom bullet is a 50 caliber. Do you know how big 50 caliber is? This is how big it is. It's bigger than the fucking handgun he's holding. And even discounting that, how does it not blow his arm off? He's not using both hands or anything. Sure, I know he was enhanced with bionic parts, but even still, only his forearms were replaced. His upper arm and shoulder are still made of human flesh and bone. They'd still be ripped off of the blasters by such a haphazard shot. Hell, he even showed the kick of the gun, destroying his robotic arm. But hey, the rest of his flesh and blood is alright. Despite them just fighting, suddenly they're just being all friendly again for no real reason.
Work it out for yourself. You ever wonder why there aren't any other horned freaks in the world? Ever wonder why you're such a unique specimen? It's because we kill your kind as soon as you're born. We don't let you leave the nursery.
Yeah, I'd buy that too, except that you just came from a facility that houses an untold number of these things. It's got to be a lot because I had a shit ton of security and the base is fucking huge. And even if you didn't know that, you have personally fought against one of them. You are clearly not alone. Hell, your name's 7 by your dad, which implies there are at least 6 more. Hey, Bando ends up getting absolutely dominated by a girl yet again.
Lucky fuck. In order to get that kind of treatment, I have to fly out to Mexico and pay out the fucking ass.
I plan to defeat Lucy on my own. A girl like you would just get in my way.
Oh, Japan, does your sexism know no bounds? Even if she's got weaponized invisible limbs growing out of her back that can cut through almost anything, she's just a girl. What else is she really good for other than getting pregnant and making sandwiches? Oh no, I haven't even gotten to the worst that Elfen Lied has to offer. Next time around, there's another 50 flashbacks, and things are illegal in Texas. Check back soon for the second half of this review.
Anime swag, I'm flying like Goku. Anime swag, when I pull up in that old school. Anime, drop past anime, wrist and chain anime, and everything anime. Gucci skin anime, my backpack anime, the X-Park with the Glock cut, that's anime. Oh my god, anyway, I'm balling up the avenue. Anime swag, and I'm throwing money out the roof. Anime, everything, anime, piece and chain, herringbone, gold, platinum domes with them.